Oh, okay. Go ahead, Brad.
Welcome to the closing crew with Dan, Anton, and Brad.
Oh, yeah. Brad sounds extra husky today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had my espresso courtesy of Anton.
I can tell that Brad's testosterone is good 4 measures higher than normal.
Good energy.
Yeah. His muscles look juicier than normal.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Did you work out today?
I did.
Nice.
This morning.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Are you working out too, Anton?
Yeah, I started working out.
Did you?
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh, man.
What kind of workouts are you doing?
Weightlifting and yoga
Oh.
and swimming.
Dan, what about you?
Oh, yes. I do. Exactly. I do picking up my kids a lot and cleaning up. I do a lot of Romanian deadlifts when I pick up my kids' toys off the ground all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I went last week, and I overdone it for sure.
Oh, really?
Man, I had such a crazy muscle ache.
Oh, man.
It was insane.
Like DOMs?
No, I mean, I just did like regular, the bench press and then like my back. And then I did like a core. Oh my God. Like next 3 days, like the next day was like, okay. But then like the 2 days after that, oh my God. It was like, I felt like I'm sick or something.
That is DOMs.
It was so painful. And then like I researched, okay, so what do I need like to make a faster recovery? And then like creatine. Like,
Creatine,
a lot of people like talking
Yeah.
about creatine.
Yeah.
And then I think even Joe Rogan talked about creatine. And then I got, nowadays, before it was powder. I remember like when I was in Germany in college,
Right.
like I used like powder creatine. I think it was like water or something. I don't even remember how I took it, but I did.
Mm-hmm.
But now they just have a gummies.
Yeah.
So, and then you just take 4 gummies a day and like I ordered like a mango flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually for real. Like the day I took it, I mean, maybe it was also time-wise too because it was day number 4.
Yeah.
But like I started feeling much, much better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, when I used to powerlift before the kids, dude, out creatine all day and eating steaks and chicken and stuff. And then just taking it was crazy. The only thing that I've kept up now from those days is just, dude, I'm still doing some performance enhancing drugs, dude. Just constant Red Bulls. Red Bulls every day.
But the thing is with the muscle ache is usually like when you have a big break and then eventually you're not going to have it anymore. But still, I think it helps to recover your muscles as well, like creatine. I think it's like probably strength too. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, totally. Probably back in the days, maybe it was in my head.
Right.
I remember like when I started drinking creatine, I'm like, oh, I can push more. But I don't know if it's
like, because I don't remember the details. I used to be a total nut about this stuff, but it makes more ATP available in your muscles.
Oh yeah.
So you get like puffier.
Oh yeah.
And then like you can do more. Like you have more strength and you can do like a few more reps and you recover faster.
I see.
Yeah, but it's the most researched performing enhancing.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's what I saw too. Like, there is not like so many like bad effects or something. Like how you call this side effects.
Yeah. It's really good for your brain too. Actually, recently people have been taking it for brain function.
Really?
Yeah, like to stave off like Alzheimer's and stuff. Dude, I should start like sneaking that stuff into my dad's food.
There you go.
Yeah, but I feel like he's had Alzheimer's or whatever since I was like a kid. He's so forgetful. I'm just like, what are you talking about, Dad? It's like, I've heard this story like 50 times.
That's all right.
Yeah, I think that's just being a dad.
Yeah.
That's happening to me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you guys are staying healthy and fit, and ready for this podcast. Well, dude, one of these days you guys are going to start taking your shirts off and I'm going to object. But until that day happens, we're in good order here.
Always got to go there.
That's what I'm here for, right? So today the topic is overrated and underrated things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are we talking about real estate? Is that what you meant? Or are you talking about in life?
In life.
In life?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Wow.
I mean, it could be real estate related, but I think.
How about this? Let's try to do real estate, but if you can't, then just go into real life. You know what? You know what is overrated in my opinion?
What?
Zillow estimates and Redfin
I was gonna be that. You
estimates.
took mine, man.
That's why I had to go fire first.
That for sure is very overrated.
Very overrated. Why is it overrated, Brad?
especially in Silicon Valley, right? I think they say on Zillow nationally, there's a 7% plus or minus difference in terms of their estimate and what the actual value of the home is.
Right.
7% is a huge amount.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And I think in the Bay Area, it's probably exceeds 10%. So again, a very large amount. But the biggest problem with a couple big problems with his estimates and any online valuation is one, it doesn't get inside the house, right? So it has no idea what kind of upgrades it has. And that's just like upgrades. It doesn't, other like qualitative factors of a home that consumers, especially here in the Bay Area, are worried about or look into, or like, the floor plan. Does it flow well? There's good feng shui.
Right.
Does it have a good amount of natural light? What direction does the front door face? Does it have a pool? Things like that really go into how a consumer or a buyer, values a property. And then obviously the biggest factor, I think, is just that it doesn't factor in, how the market dynamics are at a current, in any given time. Right. Right now it's a little bit slower, obviously, but as we've experienced with Silicon Valley, it can turn on a dime, and then once it does, it's just, people go crazy. And those online valuations are out the door.
So usually those estimates, are they like overrated or underrated? So let's say like if you look at the Zillow estimate, so it's usually like
overvalued or
like
undervalued.
Overvalued. Yeah. So it's like, you think is it always like higher than what you expect, or is it actually lower than what's the market values?
I think Redfin, for some reason, and it depends too, because they'll change the algorithm. I can tell.
Yeah, I want to ask you, like, how's it compared to Redfin as well?
Yeah, like the algorithm will change and everything changes, right? But for a while, I remember like from, I don't know, 2017 to like probably like 2020, I was constantly seeing Redfin overvaluing properties compared to Zillow. But then during the pandemic, I saw a flip where, I don't know, this isn't based on like objective metrics, right? So this is just on my perception, but that's how I felt. And then now I feel like they're both kind of all over the place.
I think both of them definitely factor in the list price as well, too.
They do.
Right?
They 100% do.
Oh, I see.
So once a home, even though a home could be valued before it gets listed at 1.5, when it gets listed and it's 1.75, then all of a sudden the estimate shoots up.
Right.
But yeah, I think Redfin historically has been a little bit closer. I think a lot of it's tied into how many people like on Redfin, hit favorite on the home, and how many Redfin clients actually go tour the home as well too, because then I think that goes into the algorithm, but I don't know.
My issue is it's the algorithm that's messed up. Because like, for one, it's an algorithm, right? Algorithms are meant to be scalable, right? Being able to apply to as many things as possible. And like homes are very unique, right? So for instance, like what doesn't make sense to me is the more people click on one, right? Then they perceive more value, because there's more interest. But what if you put like a half naked bikini girl on the front cover? Like, didn't that happen in LA before? I think they did. And like it was a junk house and it was like overpriced or whatever, but because every photo had like champagne and Lambos and like, bikini girls, right? Everybody was clicking it and it was getting shared everywhere. So that really inflated the price. And guess what? It was like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Because people go, well, if that's what it says online, And then,
Okay. So back in the days, like we had the algorithm. So do you think now, like with the AI technology, it can be better? Because AI now can read the pictures, it can read the video, it can like basically kind of get the feeling of, based on the pictures and on the video, like how like probably can even read the disclosures too.
Yeah, it can.
Oh yeah. There's companies out there now that are reviewing disclosures. That's definitely going to be.
So I think nowadays it's still like old algorithm, but maybe in the future, like probably AI gonna take over.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I want to be a hater, like my inner hater is just like, no, absolutely not. Like they can't. But because I've been very impressed with what AI's, it's Moore's law. It's AI is becoming better so much faster that where I wouldn't put it past it, where eventually, yes, it is going to get much, much, much closer, right? So,
Absolutely.
But the only thing with AI though that doesn't count for is human stupidity, right? Not stupidity, but we're just not predictable.
Yeah.
Because the thing with AI is it's all based on like Boolean logic. It's all based on like a logic tree and like ones and zeros, and like it's kind of set for the most part, right? Until you get into quantum or whatever. But like with humans, like you go, hey, this house sucks, right? It's falling apart. Foundation's messed up. It's in a bad neighborhood. Roof's got holes in it. All this stuff. There's always going to be one guy out there be like, okay, well, I'm going to pay $1 million over.
Yeah.
Right? Just out of nowhere. You know what I mean? So it'll never account for that. So that's going to be the X factor. But AI is getting pretty close. Yeah. So,
very cool.
anyways.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I think, does anybody else want to add to that? The Zillow, Redfin stuff?
No.
Are there any other platforms where you can see the value of the home besides Zillow and Redfin?
There are, but I think those are probably cover 95% of what consumers use.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. And then didn't Redfin just get bought out?
Redfin just got bought by Rocket.
Right.
Rocket
Mortgage, yeah.
Oh,
basically, from what I read, they're trying to consolidate everything so that it just makes it easier for the consumer to be able to go on Redfin, buy the home on Redfin, get mortgage through Redfin, and just kind of a one-stop shop kind of thing for consumers. We'll see how it pans out.
Dude, that sounds like a dictatorship.
Yeah.
That sounds like but you know, I think a lot of companies have tried that before, and they've never been able to pull it off. So, and also, it kind of, you know, it flies in the face of like what America stands for.
Seriously.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like as a concept, right? In America, you're about like freedom, choices, you know, and then you get like, that's why I think why Americans hate corporations in a sense, because, you know, you get like a Rocket mortgage coming in being like, hey, I've got everything you need, right? It's like, and then there's like a part of us where we're like, we don't want that.
Yeah.
You know?
And the Rocket Mortgage is so aggressive. I remember like one time I submitted request online to like get, oh my God, they've been calling me like 10 times a day, like for a month.
Dude.
And I'm like, and then I picked up, I'm like, that's like, I picked someone else. Like, can you please guys stop calling me?
Right.
And still
Dude, I want to see Anton mad.
Yeah.
I bet that'd be insane. I've never seen you like really mad.
but they're like super aggressive. And
Dude, I bet you're still polite though. I bet you were still like, I do not appreciate this.
I think it has to escalate like really hard. Like,
What's that?
for me? Like, I mean, it has to escalate really hard, like for me to get like super, super mad.
Yeah.
Well, I think if it's like really personal to me, sometimes it can be.
Like if somebody's talking about your family.
Yeah. Oh man,
Yeah,
family is no go.
Yeah.
Sure. I think every fight that I've ever been in when I was a kid was always like, it was okay. I was handling it okay until somebody said something about my mom.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was just like, okay, all right. You want to go nuclear? Let's go nuclear.
But what about when people made fun of like Japanese anime?
Dude, I don't care. I don't care. It's funny. I never like, I don't know what it was, but I always had this like I've always been a contrarian a little bit. So like, I never associated myself. Like I just never owned it. So if somebody said something about me being Asian or whatever, I'd be like, whatever, you know? And like I dealt with racism, but not like crazy. Like I never was threatened, you know?
Yeah.
But like people just ribbing at me. That kind of like little racism.
Right.
Not to say that, you know, it's okay, but I mean, I'm fine, you know?
Yeah.
But at least for me personally, but I'm being so careful on this podcast, right? Oh God.
I know.
I don't want to get canceled. I
man.
know. But
To be yourself.
But yeah, no, it never bugged me. Did people rib you about it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely got a lot of it
Really?
growing up.
But you're like the whitest guy I know.
Thanks, man. It's funny because, and we're totally going off topic here, but like when I grew up, I went to Leland High School, which was majority white, right?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. It's like majority Asian now. So it's a matter of 20, 30 years it flipped. But yeah, definitely, even in the Bay Area, people think that, we're super diverse here and, you know, more liberal than other parts of the country for sure, but definitely some racism.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. What about, how is it in Europe?
In Europe?
Yeah. Is there rate
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
in
in
Germany.
Germany
Yeah.
as a Russian person, right?
Yeah.
So that couldn't have been fun at times.
Well, I mean, in Germany in general, yeah. I mean, there's for sure. I would say, but it's not like very open. You know, it's kind of like a quiet racism. I would say
it's like the sneaky,
yeah,
the passive aggressive.
It's just like, you know, like, oh, I know I'm better than you. Like, you know, kind of you always get that feeling that you like foreigner and they're like born and raised there.
Right.
So 100%. And I mean, and in Germany, I mean, there are a lot of Russians, different like we came to Germany like for different reasons, but there are a lot of Russians who during the Second World War, they were actually sent back to Russia. Like the German family was sent back to Russia. So and now they can come back to Germany, but they send them to villages, you know, like Russian villages.
Whoa.
Yeah. So and basically the second generation or the third generation, they grew up in Russia, but then like they realized, oh, okay, because actually our ancestors are German, so we can come back to Germany. So and there are some like Russians like, you know, in Germany, very like uneducated. So and for sure all the Germans, they have a like bad impression of Russian.
Right.
So then where we came like from St. Petersburg, you know, like educated and like, you know, like good family. So it's completely different. Like everyone is like, oh yeah, interesting.
Yeah, dude, I hate when people give your people a bad name.
Yeah. So
I'm like, dude,
yeah,
I'm not
so
a pervert.
And I mean, to be honest,
pervert.
like I mean, some of them are like well deserved because there are so crazy stories. Like in Germany, like, you know, when people from the village come and like, you know, they see Western world and then like, you know, they start stealing stuff. Like, or I mean, there was a crazy story. Like one guy stole the car from the dealership and then drove back to the dealership and smashed like the window and then like the whole thing. It's like crazy stories because like they grew up like in kind of this kind of like a bad influence neighborhood. I mean, this is just how they grew up, and then they just do the same thing there, you know. And yeah, it's pretty bad. But I mean, there are also like there are a lot of foreigners in Germany. There are also like Turkish people. There's a huge Turkish community,
right?
Because after Second World War came actually and rebuilt Germany,
right?
It was like a Turkish people. So there's like a lot of Turkish people. Yeah. So I mean, I have a lot of Turkish friends there too. So it's like a lot, like a mix is a lot. So there's also like a Yugoslavian people, you know, like a Serbia, Croatia. So there's also like that community as well.
Yeah. Because I mean, in Europe, like it's a lot of it's like landlocked.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like in America.
Yeah. And usually Germany actually accepts a lot of like foreigners. How do you call this? Like when they come. Refugees, yeah. So they have like a very good policy for the refugees. And when you come there, you can live there for free, basically.
What?
To be honest. Yeah. So let's say if you're a refugee and you go to Germany and like all the papers approved and everything, and you have a family.
Yeah.
So you get money for each kid. The government pays for your medical insurance. The government pays for your apartment or your condo, and gives you money also like a minimum requirement to live plus additional money for the kids.
Dude, the taxes there must be crazy.
Yeah. So that's why all the refugees, when they go, they want to go to Germany because it's the most.
I want to go to Germany.
Yeah, me too. Shoot, they're gonna pay for everything.
Yeah.
Are the taxes insane then? Like
Similar,
who pays for
similar
that?
to US, I would say like 40% somewhere there.
So who pays for that?
Well, I mean, you know, Germany, like they have a lot of good companies. So I mean, there are a lot of people working. I mean, eventually they do force them to go to work, but then there's also funny thing like if they can prove, oh, I applied for 3 jobs and I didn't get hired, so they go back on this government support. So yeah, there is like, I mean, I don't know the rules nowadays, but it's something like that. So
doesn't seem sustainable.
Yeah, but eventually they do want to go there and work. Like, I mean, the automotive industry, like I mean, you know, in Germany, for example, or engineering in general, there are a lot of like factories where they need the like labor, you know, to build things, to build stuff. So yeah, so eventually they plan to, them to work, but
until AI takes it all over.
And all the robots. I mean, nowadays, like all those car manufacturers, they use those robots a lot. I mean, there are people just standing actually and watching that nothing goes wrong.
Right.
So eventually, probably going to be AI overseeing AI.
And incestuous.
And then nothing goes wrong.
Yeah, dude.
Everything goes wrong at that point.
Yeah. And then the robots are like, well, the only people messing up at this. Yeah, dude, it's going to be like AI Bob talking to AI Ed. And then you'd be like, hey, Bob, you know who's only messing up in this factory? It's like, who? It's the humans, dude. The humans are messing everything up. It's like, wait a second, you're right.
Wait,
us AI robots, we never mess up. You know what? We should kill them all. That's how it starts.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I believe in that.
All right. So now that we've talked about AI robots, Europe, racism, we've talked about government policy on refugees
and Zillow's estimates.
Okay, so let's get it back on track. You know what else I think is overrated? And this is gonna suck. Actually, people are gonna really hate this. I think Cupertino is overrated. Sorry, Christine, but I think Cupertino is overrated. Fight me on it. Tell me why I'm wrong. We need to have counter opinion.
I'm staying out.
You guys are P words.
I like restaurants in Cupertino.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's but for like buying a house, right? Yeah. Okay, you know what? All right, you guys are cowards, but I'm gonna.
Okay, no, tell me. Like,
Yeah.
give me some meat. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll give you some meat. Okay, so with Cupertino, right? Every time I talk to first-time home buyers, usually like they're young people. Usually they're from out of like maybe they're transplants for tech, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're coming from the Midwest or whatever to Google. Let's say that happens a lot. They're usually young. And they're thinking for their kids, right? They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have some kids, or I have a little kid, and then they're like, we really want to go to Cupertino, right? And then I always ask like, oh, why? It's like, oh, because the schools are the best there, right? And then I'm like, okay, okay, if you want to pay $1 billion for a 1-bedroom apartment, sure, right?
Yeah.
But there are so many, like the schools in general in the Bay are pretty good. So I think like people like are like, oh, this school is just a 7.
Yep.
But it's like it's still a pretty good school.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like I mean, I went to a bad school.
Right.
I went to Del Mar. Back then it was really bad. But like so they're putting all of this value into the Cupertino school system, which is really good, I guess, if you go by academically,
Yeah.
But then they start kind of doing more research and they realize, oh, I can get kind of more bang for the buck. Not to say that Cupertino sucks. It's just that it always comes up like that's like the pinnacle of, home ownership. You guys are making me so nervous, man. I like really regret even bringing this up. So, but that's just my take on it, right? Like I think Cupertino is fine, but I think it's overpriced for what you get. Like if, for instance, like Almaden Valley, right? For a similar price point, objectively, if you compare the home to home in price range, you get a better home in a really good school district.
Yeah.
That's like less crowded. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, all right. Jeez, my hands are all sweating now. Like all nervous and self-conscious.
Well, I think just in general, like the makeup of buyers over the last decade or longer, a lot of them, they put a lot of emphasis on the school districts, right? And that's pumped up Cupertino quite a bit over the years. And I mean, I always tell my clients, you could definitely get more bang for your buck in other areas and with decent schools, right? But it just comes down to people wanting those scores that are 8, 9, 10. Yeah. And it's definitely not for everyone. So
yeah.
So what about Palo Alto and Los Gatos and Cupertino? So which one is how would you rate those top 3?
They're kind of different, but like it depends on what you're looking for. So let's kind of tighten that up. For like a family, like a small family, right? If you could choose, what is it? Palo Alto, Los Gatos,
and Cupertino.
Yeah, Mountain View. Well, I guess Mountain View is like it because Mountain View is pretty good too.
Yeah.
But I would compare that to Palo Alto maybe, if we're generalizing.
Yeah, if you're gonna,
I'll put Cupertino last because it's overrated.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
I'm gonna get so flamed for this. I hope our podcast doesn't grow.
I love all the towns equally because
coward. So I think okay. Palo Alto and Los Gatos, they're both like fine wines, I would say.
Yeah.
So when you're drinking a fine wine, you kind of get the social like, oh, he's drinking fine wine.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Cupertino is like you're drinking like a very overpriced IPA.
Wow, you knock it all the way down from a wine to a beer.
Okay, fine. Box wine.
I don't think Dan and Hannah are ever going to move to Cupertino.
Oh my god.
Dude, no, I'm banned. I'm on the no fly list into Cupertino. they're gonna brand me a terrorist out there, but yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, okay, how about this?
I mean,
where would you choose to live out of the three?
I think I would say Palo Alto or Los Gatos.
Palo Alto, Los Gatos.
Yeah.
And then where would you put Cupertino?
Well,
Where would you put it, Anton?
At number 3.
What about you, Brad? Where would you
put
live?
them all in number 1, to be honest with you. Because I love all the Bay Area towns equally. All right. If I had to choose with my family,
Switzerland over here.
My kids are
Swiss bank.
younger, and all that.
Sorry,
stuff.
wait. I'm sorry. I will say though, because I've said this to you before and it resonated with you, so I'm going to bring it up again.
Yeah.
If you stand for everything, you stand for nothing. Okay,
Thanks,
good
continue.
That's a good one.
We'll see if Dan's on this podcast next week.
So he's gone. He's dead.
All the people protesting in front of Tesla are going to come over here.
Like, what are all these picket signs?
Tesla.
Jeez.
Yeah.
God.
I would put Los Gatos as my number 1.
Yeah,
for
me
sure.
too.
I just love that. I love towns that have downtowns.
Mhm.
First of all,
Yep.
and then just like, especially when you're in downtown Los Gatos and the setting's just really kind of like old school,
Yeah.
right? And then
Yeah.
it's got the hills behind it, just really, really pretty.
It is.
And Palo Alto's downtown is probably better, but
Not really.
yeah, well, better in the sense that there's more amenities, a lot of restaurants and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But like the setting of Los Gatos, particularly the downtown, for
Right.
me is definitely top notch.
Yeah.
I love that area too.
Yeah.
Especially like for the car or bike rides.
Oh yeah.
It's the best. It's just
Yeah.
like right there.
Yeah.
You know what I think? What else is overrated? Los Gatos, downtown Los Gatos. I'm just kidding.
So why is that?
No, I'm just joking.
Because overpriced IPAs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Actually, if you're in downtown Los Gatos, you're drinking an overpriced IPA. So that's
Probably,
part. Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay. I'm so bad about that. Oh man.
If you're looking for a realtor in Cupertino, do not go to Dan Asaka because he will steer you away.
No, I'm okay. Here, I'll tell you. Like, I've had clients that have purchased in Cupertino, and it made perfect sense for them. I can't specifically remember why, but there's reasons to be in Cupertino. But I think just generally, when people are just like, "Oh, I just want Cupertino," and I ask them why,
Yeah.
that's usually where it falls apart.
Right.
But some people, it's legit, right? Like, oh, they have family nearby, or there's a specific high school that they went to, they want their kids to go to.
Mhm.
That's fine. That makes sense to me. That then it's not like overrated, right?
Mhm.
But when people just say like, oh yeah, I want Cupertino because it's got good schools, then I'm like, well, who told you that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just everybody just says that. They just say that. Right.
Mhm.
But then when you really start thinking about it, it's like, yeah, I guess if you want your kid to get all stressed out, getting into Stanford. But anyways, okay, okay, come on. It can't just be me. You guys got to get lit up here. Say something controversial
Okay.
now.
I can say something.
Well,
So you know what's overrated?
okay.
It's Japanese Wagyu steak.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
So
Yeah.
I recently, actually, past week, Tao is like, I want a steak. I'm like, okay, I can do steak for you.
Yeah.
So I go to Costco, and then I usually buy this ribeye, and then they've like this USDA ribeye, and now they've like American Wagyu. And then I look right, and there is a Japanese A5 Wagyu from Kobe.
Whoa, how much was that?
$60 a pound. But they sell it like in I think 4 pounds. So it's like you have to pay like $300 to get like one piece. But it's like a humongous piece. And I look at all this marble.
Yeah.
And then I look at all the American.
Yeah.
And like me being me, I'm like, we have to try both.
Of course, dude. Of course.
So the first night we try American Wagyu. Like I cooked it like very nice. Like, you know, for me, I did medium and Tao like more like well done. Even well done.
Did well done Wagyu?
Yeah, but to be honest, like, I mean, for her, like, I tried it. It was super soft, like amazing.
Okay.
I mean, it was not super well done, but like, you know, like still that everything is inside cooked.
Yeah.
And I did her slices a little bit like thinner.
Okay.
The American Wagyu was amazing. And I'm like, oh my God, how the Japanese Wagyu gonna beat that?
Yeah.
So, and it was a humongous piece. So I'm like, okay, let's invite friends, like, you know, for that. And, you know, like this beef has like so much fat, like so much marble. So like, I was not sure like how to cook that.
It's
like, you know,
quick.
yeah. So, yeah, that's what I thought. But
yeah.
So we invited another couple, like 4 of us. And so I sliced those pieces, like this humongous piece, like into 6 steaks. And I cooked everything because I'm like, oh, what if it's too good? Like we just eat everything. So I did Taos well done. It's like in hours, like on the super heat. Like I bought this griddle, like a outdoor griddle, like, you know, like heat it up like super hot, and then like just like couple minutes on each side, like it gets super crunchy. So we start eating, but inside is still like super raw,
right?
Because like there's so much fat inside Japanese beef. It's like, I'm like, I don't think so. It tastes right. So I'm like, I'm probably going to cook mine a little bit more. So I slice it and cook a little bit more. And then Tao pieces were perfect too, because I did it well done. It was like just melting in your mouth.
Okay.
It's like, it's amazing.
Okay.
So, and then I cooked my pieces a little bit more, but because like there's so much fat around and everything. So like, I mean, did finish my humongous piece.
Yeah.
But then after this, so next morning, like the whole night I was dreaming about Wagyu steak.
Oh my
Like in a bad way?
I was dreaming, like I was dreaming like there's a cube of Wagyu steak that I'm lying on the Wagyu steak. I'm like, this cow might be like very happy. They massage like this cow very well. So like, and I'm waking up and I'm like texting everyone. I was like, hey guys, like did you also dream about
Was it
Wagyu
food
steak?
poisoning? Were you like hallucinating?
And then Jasmine's like, yeah, me too.
What the heck?
So the thing is, and then I next day I call my brother. I'm like, hey bro, like how do I cook the steak?
Oh, just for context, Anton's brother is like a Michelin chef.
Yeah, in
super,
Germany. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
So I'm calling him. I'm like, and I send him a picture. He's like, whoa, that's amazing piece. He's like, it's A5 like Wagyu Japanese. I'm like, yeah. He's like, so what did you do? So I'm like, yeah, I cooked like a humongous piece of steak. He's like, what? He's like, it's like, I would say for the appetizers, like, you know, if you have a slice, like a tiny pieces, just for the appetizer is amazing. Yeah. But if you want to like consume this whole huge steak, oh my God, there's so much fat, or I didn't cook it right. Like, I mean, or there is
just too much fat.
Or there is a different way to cook it. Wow. And then I watch a couple other videos, and then they do like with the ponzu sauce, like a sushi. So they also cook it, slice it, and then like with the ponzu sauce, then like more acidic. So you know, like to counter the fat. Yep. Then it's perfect. But like in general, like the first bite, I would say amazing. But if you eat too much of it, you're gonna dream of the Wagyu steak.
Okay, so then the Wagyu steak actually wasn't that bad. It was just you just had way too much of it.
Correct. Yeah, we just so now Tao is like, no more Wagyu steak for me for 10 years.
Yeah, man, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot, dude.
Because $1,000 on steak,
essentially, dude. Yeah, you ate like
it was 300 for. I mean, it could fit 6 people for some reason.
But the thing is, like, you paid 300, right? But that was for like 20 servings.
Correct. Yeah, it's probably for 20 appetizers. Sorry. Yeah. Probably if you have like group of 20 people or something. Yeah. It's easy like appetizer for everyone. Yeah.
It's like foie gras. You can't have too much of that, or else it's sinning. Like it goes 100%. From like sustaining yourself and like to sinning, just straight sin. Yeah. Just like eating that stuff, just destroying. Like there's no reason for that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. For sure. But I think I've had Wagyu before, and it was very small, and I remember thinking like, the hell is this? They didn't even give me any food on here. And then I had one bite, and I was like, whoa. You know, it's delicious.
That's how it's supposed to be. It's I would compare this to like, you know, Toro sushi, like a Toro. You're not gonna eat a bunch of it. No, it's like you order like a 2 what's this, nigiri toro, or like
Mhm.
2 sashimi toro, and
Yeah.
then you consume those 2 pieces, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that was nice. But you're not gonna do like the whole sushi
Yeah.
plate of toro.
No,
and
no,
you're
no.
not gonna appreciate it.
Yeah.
So same thing with the Wagyu beef, like a Japanese A5 Wagyu beef.
Yeah. Because Japanese culture is like all about modesty and
Yeah.
like self-control.
Yeah.
So it's like you wouldn't be eating a mountain of that
Yeah.
stuff.
Except if you're
America,
American.
yeah, in America, you're eating the whole damn cow.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So yeah. It's a good take.
Yeah.
It's a good take.
Yeah.
What about you, Brad?
What's overrated?
Or underrated? Yeah.
I think right now what's been overrated the last couple of years for me and Jamie has been the whole college application, and just the college process in general, and experiencing that as a parent, and then experiencing it, through the eyes of our kids, as opposed to when I was younger. A lot different back then as opposed to now.
Right.
I think a part of it is the fact that we do live in Silicon Valley, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot more pressure, and
Yeah. Especially in Cupertino.
especially in Cupertino. There you go. Yeah, your kids are kind of ingrained from an early age that you got to go to the top schools. You got to go
Right.
to Stanford, Harvard, all those things, right? So
Yeah. And they're so much more competitive now than they were when we were kids.
yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So
And I think a lot of those universities, not all of them, but a lot of them have become big business now, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
less about educating young adults and it's more about making money,
Mhm.
and so I've seen that. Marissa is our older daughter that's a sophomore in college now, and she went through it a couple years ago, and the university that she's at now is great. Really love it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like there's part of me that thinks, you could have probably gone the community college route and
Right,
just kind
right.
of figure things out. And, because I don't know about you guys, but when I first went into college, I had no idea what I was going to do. I had
I thought I knew. I messed up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I got into marketing, which I kind of had I enjoyed, but I wasn't totally 100%, right? And I feel like if you're not 100% or
Right.
close to it in terms of knowing what you're going to do,
Mhm.
doesn't make much sense to go to a 4U university right off the bat, right?
Especially when you're 17.
Yeah, exactly. There's a rare breed of people out there. One of my nieces is actually one of them, my cousin's daughter. She knew right away that she wanted to be a nurse. So she went to a school back east that, really focuses on the a great nursing program. And sure enough, she's about to graduate and she's going to become a nurse.
Nice.
That's how my brother too.
Really?
Like when he was a kid,
Yeah.
like 7 years old, he's like, I want to be a chef.
Wow. That's awesome,
It's
dude.
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. Those type of people amaze me because
Yeah.
it's like to know that early
Yeah,
on and
serious.
then just
Yeah.
go through all the steps that are
Yeah,
needed
yeah.
to do it. That's pretty amazing.
Have
I
you
think
guys
for-
ever felt that kind of passion like that early on for anything? That was like lasting.
No.
Yeah.
I love computers. I remember when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I'm like, I
Yeah.
love computer. I want to be like a programmer or like a software engineer or something like that. I
Yeah.
remember I was saying it.
Yeah.
Well, you got all the gadgets now, so
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say you stuck to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, no, I wish I did, but yeah, I never had anything like that. So
Yeah.
But so what's the most frustrating now with the process? Like what's like? I'm just curious
So,
because like
yeah.
I only did in Germany, so I actually
right.
I don't have a kind of feeling like what's the process in in US actually.
Yeah, there's no clear guidance or reason why universities pick kids
Oh, yeah?
that they do. Like Marissa, for example, at the time when she was applying, her number one school was University of San Diego.
Yeah.
She didn't get in for whatever reason. Just, she always had great grades, scored really well. But another one of her high school classmates didn't do so well in a lot of things. He got in. So
Interesting.
Maybe it was the
how's
letter.
how's the process? Like you send your grades from your high school and then you write the letter, or
yeah, every university is different, but
Okay.
there's an application process, and some will have you fill out like a letter. I don't know, like
Yeah.
Harvard and all those Ivy League schools, there's obviously they're very rigorous with what they do.
There's a lot of nepotism involved too. I think.
Yeah,
to probably include like a donation check as well.
Yeah, no, actually, 100%.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
for real?
Yep,
for sure.
Oh,
Some of them,
there's
I mean,
a lot
like,
of that.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
interesting.
Yeah,
So,
like USC, Harvard, Stanford, maybe Berkeley now too. Probably, I don't know, but it's
Davis.
There's definitely some of that going on.
yeah. So I just wish there was, for the kids at least, they knew exactly what it takes to get into a university instead of just kind of, it's a shot in the dark. You don't know. Most kids nowadays are applying to 10 universities, and that's not cheap. I think that's like for UCLA, I heard that they make about $8 million a year.
Oh my god!
On just college applications.
So how, like one application, how much do you have to include?
I think it's like, I don't know,
It's
man.
a big business.
I think it's I want to say like $75. I don't know. I have to look that up.
$75 when you
And they made
did they make 8 million?
Yeah. I'll have to look that up. But
whoa,
it's
a lot
expensive.
of applications.
So something like that to me is definitely big business, right?
Oh, 100%.
And then when you look at some of these bigger universities, how much they put into their sports programs,
Right.
versus how much they put into their engineering or nursing programs. I mean, it's all about TV dollars,
That's true, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I love this about America, that they like all these colleges are like so into sport. Because like when I went to Germany, it was like there's nothing about the sport, to be honest.
Well, they're into
like,
football, right?
Well, yeah, but
Soccer,
I think like in my college, like I don't even remember we had any like sport education at all.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could kind of join on your own, like a basketball team or something else.
Right.
But there is nothing like required for you
Right.
to get the degree.
Yeah. So just to clarify, the UCLA application fee is $135 for U.S. citizens and $155 for non-U.S. citizens.
I see.
So they made $8 million a year off of that, right?
That's insane.
It's so arbitrary too.
Okay.
And then it sucks too because like, some of these kids, like they've been dedicating 4 years of their life, like driving towards this.
Yeah.
And then they apply, they don't get in, and they take it as like a direct reflection of like what their capabilities are.
Right.
And then they become crack addicts and
Here we go. And they moved to Cupertino.
the mean streets of Cupertino. But yeah, no, I mean, that's, of course, I'm being dramatic too, but no, like in all seriousness, like it sucks, right? Because to your point, if they clarified, hey, like I wish they would even be honest, where it's like, hey, you know what? You're more than qualified to come to the school, but we just don't have the space.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Like then it's like, I think especially for a 17-year-old kid, then you could be like, yeah, I could have, but it's just, it's one school. So I got to move on. Right.
But I mean, for San Diego, that's kind of interesting. Yeah. Because I mean, as Brett mentioned, then she had a better grade. Yeah. Like better score, but then another person with a less score got in. Right. So how's that work? I mean, is it a lottery? I mean, what do they say? I mean, I don't know.
Quotas?
Usually they always say like, oh, if it's too many, like we have a lottery or something, like a lottery system.
DEI.
No comment.
I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that.
Have fun with that one.
You guys touch that. I'm not touching that.
You're the one that brought it up, man. Have fun with that, bro.
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, that's.
Hey, can you make sure nobody's out there protesting Dan right now?
Dude, I didn't say anything about it.
It's like people eventually next year, yeah. It's gonna be like people with.
Thanks for tuning in, folks.
The Brad and Brad show.
All right.
Are we really ending it like that? As me as the villain? That's awesome. All right. Peace out, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Have a good life, Dan.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Dude, I feel like I stepped on the dirt rail so many times.